Has the call.
Thanks very much, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Treasurer. On the 2nd of March last year, the Treasurer dismissed political dissenters in his own ranks by describing those who disagreed with him as, and I quote, a few political bedwetters carrying on. Does the Treasurer believe that those who he dismisses in this manner are working to undermine his plan to increase the GST? And does the Treasurer agree that the Australian people have a right to know about his plans to make everything cost more?
Again, the first part of members on my left will cease interjecting. The first part of the question, like the last, is not within the standing orders, I don't believe. The Treasurer can address the next two questions that were contained within it on tax, and the member for Gorton won't interject.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Again, the Shadow Treasurer wishes to focus on triviality. I'll go to the substance, Mr Speaker. And the substance is this.
The member for Sydney.
The government is engaged in a genuine, real discussion broadly with the Australian community.
Treasurer, resume his seat. Yesterday, I asked a number of members to cease interjecting a number of times, and I warned some on multiple occasions. I'm giving fair warning now. Those members do not come into question time today with a clean slate. The member for Sydney was asked to cease interjecting 5 times yesterday and was warned twice. I just simply can't allow members to ignore my repeated warnings to them. If those members, and they know who they are, who were warned yesterday and asked on multiple occasions to stop interjecting, if they persist today, there will be no warnings and they'll be removed under 94A. The Treasurer has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The government is engaged in a genuine discussion with the Australian people and within our own ranks as a government as we work through the very real issues about how you have a growth-friendly tax system that will support jobs and growth. And part of that process, Mr Speaker, is to work through the issues. And that's exactly what the government is doing, intentionally working through those issues. And I can make it very clear, as I know the Prime Minister knows and all of Cabinet knows, is the government has not made a decision on this matter. I have not made any final decision on this matter, Mr Speaker, nor is the Prime Minister or the Cabinet or anyone else. There is an open and obvious discussion taking place about what is the best way to support jobs and growth through our tax system. Now, on this side of the House, Mr Speaker, we of course would very much like to ensure that the tax burden on Australians who are working and saving, investing is eased. Of course we would like that. We would really like to see personal income taxes lower than they are today, Mr Speaker, but there's only 3 ways you could do that. First of all, you could fund it from a surplus that you inherited from the previous government. Well, we didn't inherit a surplus from the previous government, Mr Speaker. What we inherited was an absolute mess, and so you could not fund changes to personal income tax based on the strong budget position that was left to us by those opposite. Equally, Mr Speaker, you could fund them by strong growth in nominal GDP over into the future, at the more than 11% which occurred in the 80s, or well over 5% which was occurring under previous governments. Or you could do it off soaring commodity prices, which those opposite experienced while they were in government, Mr Speaker, but we know the reality of the global circumstances. So we are wrestling with the very real issues of how can you reduce the burden on Australians who are going to work every day, running small businesses every day, and try to ease the tax burden on them, Mr Speaker. It's not an easy task. Those opposite are not interested in that task. They just want to tax and spend.